Test 1, 2.
Sega. Hey there, GGN. I'm alone this week, so it looks like it's just you and me. I know you might feel a little awkward in this situation, so just let me do all the talking. Today, we'll hit up World 3. I'm reluctant to say that World 3 is the climax of the game, but it certainly marks a turning point. Up to this point, we've seen levels just sort of putz around with different ideas. Here, there's a decided focus to everything, and after World 3, level structures open up and transform with a sense of purpose you don't see in the first two worlds of the game. And it definitely feels like we're beginning anew, thanks to the music in this first stage. That horn in the main melody tapers upward with about as much care as you could ask from a 1990 Genesis game, and the pipes in the background add a flourish that sort of gild the whole thing. This track is certainly building up to something. I'll let you listen a little, since you asked nicely. So, if you go straight forward along the top of the level, you eventually hit a wall that stops you dead. This level sets up a main path that goes along the top of the screen, and it seems like you're being punished every time you fall in the water. However, the solution to the level is in one of the water currents down below. On one hand, it's frustrating because it's misleading. It also doesn't feel great to have to brute force the solution. As you can see here, I just have to jump down every available pit and see what happens. And most of the time, it takes me backward. I don't think there's any intelligent way of sussing it out. It's kinda like the first fortress in World 3 of Super Mario Bros. 3, where you just have to memorize the door to go in. If you don't remember, prepare to check a whole lot of doors. On the other hand, though, it strikes an adventuresome tone befitting of the music. When I followed the upper path only to be met with a dead end, I had to find a back door to the exit of the level. The location of the exit itself is kind of a secret, and when I found it, I felt like I was breaking new ground. The fact that the passage forward is underground works well with this idea. The underground in fiction often... I just died. Guys, could you roll the footage? Just, skip the part of the level I already... thanks. Thank our guys for that. Anyway, the fact that the passage forward is underground works well with the idea. The underground in fiction often serves as a place for long undiscovered secrets. There could just as easily be something as, doors or air currents, but traveling underground through rushing waterways strikes a certain tone. It helps that you're at the mercy of water currents. This place is only going to let you in if it wants you to get in. And you can see here, that wall on the left would have stopped me if I had stuck to the top path. So the thing that brings World 3 together is its focus on ruin-like gimmicks, but it's not a string of unrelated ruins. Instead, it gains focus by following a progression from nonlinear to linear. I don't mean that there are multiple ways through a given level. You've always got to take that one waterway in the first stage. No, what I mean is that each subsequent level is more and more a simple left-to-right affair. You can't clear the first stage by going strictly left to right. You have to search out the exit. Here, you're forced at times to go up or down, but you never really have to look around for a passage forward. The most interesting thing about Stage 2 itself is how well it serves as a transition. It starts out with a lot of safe ground, but as you progress, platforms get smaller and smaller until the ending bit is a ridiculous string of one-block-wide platforms. The bottomless pit below you is a growing threat throughout the level. It's also worth noting that vertical travel decreases as platforms get smaller. You do less jumping up to a platform above, and more jumping straight to the right. The decrease in safe footing really gives the sense that this place is falling apart, and the constant presence of bottomless pits makes the space really big. You can't see the bottom, so it must go on forever. There's at least 2 layers of parallax background, too, which makes the room look like it stretches into the background for miles. The final stage of the world is the most linear. The entire stage is only 1 screen tall. This must be the bottom of the ruin, where the waterfalls from Stage 2 end up. The scope of the stage is completely gone. In Stage 2, you had bottomless pits below you and tons of ruins in the background. Here, you see the ground at all times, and the background is a stark, empty, black space. It's a little creepy, actually, and it reminds me of the rats in the walls, which is admittedly the only Lovecraft story I've read. As much as I like the structures in World 3, it doesn't save Castle of Illusion from the curse of boredom. Almost every enemy in the world is a bat, which doesn't have engaging AI in the slightest. It just flies straight forward. The fish in the first stage aren't much better, but at least they make for some tense moments while swimming. And the platforming, structurally sound as it is, doesn't have anything to it to make it engaging. It's all just platforms sitting still. Things really fall apart in this third stage, though, where you spend half the time waiting for water to rush by. If you're caught up in the current, you're rushed backwards and take damage. I'll admit that the waiting gimmick fits with the theme of ancient ruins, but that doesn't make it interesting. In the end, World 3 shows that the designers of Castle of Illusion could put together a sensible world when they tried, but they didn't have any of the resources to make it interesting. So the boss plays on the scope of the second stage, taking advantage of the huge arena to bounce off screen so you have to predict where he'll end up. Actually, I have a funny story about this boss involving a trip to the bank that you might find interesting. It all started when I got in my... What are we gonna do with all these dead bodies? Which is why the name Galactic Gaming News might be more literal than most people realize. Oh, I kinda died a lot there. We better cut out those deaths. I find that this boss is a lot easier if I sit on the far left and think of things one-dimensionally. That is, I try to imagine when he'll hit the far left of the screen and react appropriately. I guess it's a bit like a bit trip beat. Anyway, as you can see, it's not a perfect strategy since it leads to me getting hit plenty of times. Bosses in Castle of Illusion generally have a pretty loose association with their worlds. I could make up something, but it would probably just be BS. Anyway, here's the gem. After World 3, as I said, the game really starts to ramp up. And there are lots of ramps. It's very rampy. Thank you. I would like to, look at this level design. This is... And all the instruments... It's... Wait, there's another door. What's inside this room? I don't know, Mickey. Let's check it out next time.